Have you ever thrown away a banana peel and never thought about it again? What if I told you that banana peel could grow food? Every single day, most households throw away vegetable scraps, fruit peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, and leftover plant trimmings. It all goes into the trash. Then that trash gets collected, dumped into a landfill, and slowly rots without oxygen, releasing methane gas into the atmosphere. And at the same time, gardeners go to the store and spend money on chemical fertilizers to feed their soil. Doesn't that sound backwards? We are throwing away nutrients and then paying to buy nutrients back. But here's the truth. Those kitchen scraps are not waste. They are resources. Inside every peel, every leaf, every scrap, there are minerals, carbon, nitrogen, and microorganisms that plants desperately need. When you compost, you are simply returning those nutrients back to the soil where they belong. And the best part? You don't need a big farm. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't even need a large backyard. You can compost in a small yard, on a balcony, or even indoors. Composting is one of the simplest and most powerful habits you can start today if you care about gardening, self-sufficiency, saving money, or living more sustainably. Because healthy soil creates healthy plants. And healthy plants create healthy food. But most people don't compost because they think it's complicated. They imagine bad smells, flies everywhere, a dirty mess, too much work. But when composting is done correctly, it does not smell bad, it does not attract pests, and it does not take much time. In fact, once you understand the basics, it becomes almost effortless. Nature already knows how to compost. Walk into a forest, leaves fall, branches break, plants die, and yet there is no garbage truck in the forest. Everything decomposes naturally. Microorganisms, worms, fungi, and bacteria work together to break down organic matter into rich, dark, crumbly soil. That soil feeds new plants. Those plants grow. They drop leaves again. It's a perfect cycle. Composting at home is simply copying nature. Instead of sending your scraps to a landfill, you create a small, controlled ecosystem that turns waste into plant food. And once you start, you'll notice something interesting. Your trash bin gets lighter. Your garden gets healthier, and you start seeing value in things you used to ignore. A carrot top is no longer trash. It's future tomatoes. Coffee grounds are no longer waste. They are future lettuce. Eggshells are no longer garbage. They are future peppers. This shift in mindset is powerful because composting is not just about soil. It's about closing the loop. It's about taking responsibility for what you consume. And it's about building fertility right where you live. In this video series, I'm going to walk you through everything step by step. You'll learn what compost actually is, why it works, what you can compost, what you should never compost, how to avoid smells, how to speed up decomposition, and how to use finished compost to supercharge your garden. By the end, you will have the confidence to turn your kitchen scraps into nutrient-rich compost without confusion and without mistakes. So if you're ready to stop wasting nutrients and start building living soil, let's begin. Before we start composting, you need to understand one important thing. Compost is not dirt, and it's not simply rotting garbage. Compost is living material. It is the result of billions of microorganisms breaking down organic matter into stable, nutrient-rich humus. When you compost, you are creating a controlled environment where nature can do its job faster and more efficiently. Let's simplify it. Composting is powered by three main things: carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Think of carbon as energy food for microorganisms. Carbon-rich materials are usually dry and brown. Examples include dry leaves, cardboard, paper, straw, sawdust. These are often called browns. Now let's talk about nitrogen. Nitrogen is protein food for microorganisms. Nitrogen-rich materials are usually fresh and green. Examples include vegetable scraps, fruit peels, coffee grounds, fresh grass clippings, plant trimmings. These are often called greens. When you combine browns and greens in the right balance, microorganisms begin to multiply. They start breaking down the materials. As they work, they generate heat. That heat is a sign that your compost pile is alive. In fact, a healthy compost pile can reach temperatures between 50 to 70 degrees Celsius. That heat helps kill weed seeds and harmful pathogens. Now let's talk about oxygen. Composting is an aerobic process. That means it needs air. If your pile has enough oxygen, it will smell earthy and clean. If it doesn't have enough oxygen, it will smell bad. Bad smell usually means the compost is too wet or too compacted. That's why turning your compost is important. When you mix it occasionally, you introduce fresh oxygen and keep the system healthy. So let's review. Carbon materials provide energy. Nitrogen materials provide protein. Oxygen allows the system to breathe, and together they create compost. Now you might be wondering, what is the correct ratio? A simple rule is this. For every 1 part green material, add 2 to 3 parts brown material. It doesn't have to be perfect. Composting is forgiving, but balance is important. Too many greens? It becomes slimy and smelly. Too many browns? It decomposes very slowly. When the balance is right, the pile will slowly transform. At first, you'll still recognize banana peels and leaves. After a few weeks, they start breaking apart. After a few months, everything becomes dark, crumbly, and smells like fresh forest soil. That final product is finished compost. Unlike chemical fertilizers that give plants a quick boost, compost builds long-term soil health. It turns lifeless soil into living soil, and living soil grows stronger plants. This is why gardeners, farmers, and permaculture designers all value compost. It's not just plant food, it's soil medicine. Now that you understand how compost works, the next step is practical. What exactly can you compost, and what should you avoid? Because not everything from your kitchen belongs in the compost pile. Now that you understand how compost works, let's make it practical. Because one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is adding the wrong materials. And when that happens, the pile smells bad, attracts pests, or stops decomposing properly. So let's make this simple. First, what you can compost. Let's start with your kitchen. Fruit peels, banana peels, apple cores, orange skins, mango skins. All of these are excellent. Vegetable scraps are perfect too. Carrot tops, potato peels, onion skins, tomato ends, wilted spinach. Coffee grounds are fantastic. They are rich in nitrogen. Tea leaves are also great. Just remove plastic tea bags if they are synthetic. Eggshells? Yes, but crush them first. They break down faster and add calcium to your compost. Now let's move outside. Dry leaves are compost gold. They are rich in carbon. Small twigs can be added if chopped into small pieces. Grass clippings are excellent, but use them in thin layers. Too much at once can become slimy. Plant trimmings, dead flowers, and garden waste are all perfect additions. Uncoated cardboard and plain paper can also be composted. Just tear them into small pieces and soak them slightly before adding. Now let's talk about what you should not compost. This is very important. Do not add meat. Do not add fish. Do not add bones. These attract rats, dogs, and flies. Avoid dairy products. Milk, cheese, yogurt, they can create strong odors and attract pests. Do not compost oily or greasy food. Cooking oil slows down decomposition and creates bad smells. Avoid heavily processed foods. They often contain preservatives that slow microbial activity. Do not compost diseased plants. If a plant had a fungal infection or serious pest issue, it's safer to discard it separately. Avoid pet waste from dogs and cats. It can contain harmful pathogens. And finally, avoid glossy paper and coated cardboard. These often contain chemicals or plastic layers. Now here's something important. Many people worry about citrus peels or onion skins. In normal household amounts, they are completely fine. The key is balance. Remember the rule from the last section. 1 part greens, 2 to 3 parts browns. Every time you add wet kitchen scraps, cover them with a dry leaves or shredded paper. This prevents smells, it prevents flies, and it keeps the pile balanced. If you ever notice a bad odor, don't panic. It usually means one of two things: too many greens, or not enough air. The solution: add more dry browns and turn the pile. Simple. Composting does not require perfection. It requires awareness. But the next question is, how do you actually set it up? Do you need a compost bin? Can you compost without one? What's the easiest method for beginners? Now it's time to take action. You understand the science. You know what to add and what to avoid. Now let me show you how to actually start composting step by step. And the good news is this: you do not need expensive equipment. You have 3 simple options. Option 1, open pile composting. This is the easiest method if you have a backyard. Choose a small corner of your yard. It should have good drainage and partial shade if possible. Clear the ground slightly so your compost touches the soil. This allows worms and beneficial organisms to enter naturally. Start by adding a thick layer of browns, dry leaves, cardboard or straw. This base layer improves airflow from the bottom. Next, add a layer of greens, your kitchen scraps. Then cover those scraps with another layer of browns. Remember this rule, always cover fresh food scraps with dry material. This prevents smells and keeps flies away. Keep repeating this layering process as you collect more scraps. Option 2, compost bin. If you want a cleaner look or have limited space, you can use a compost bin. You can buy one, or build one from wood pallets, or even use a large plastic container with air holes drilled into the sides. The process is the same, browns at the bottom, greens in the middle, cover with browns. Make sure your bin has airflow. Compost needs oxygen. Option 3, small space or balcony composting. If you live in a small house or apartment, you can still compost. Use a closed bin system with proper ventilation. Keep a small container in your kitchen to collect scraps daily, then transfer them to your compost container outside or on your balcony. The key to success is consistency. Now let's talk about maintenance. Compost needs 3 simple checks: moisture, air, balance. Moisture first. Your compost should feel like a wrung-out sponge, not dry like dust, not dripping wet. If it's too dry, add a little water. If it's too wet, add more dry browns. Next, air. Every 1 to 2 weeks, turn your compost pile, use a shovel or garden fork, mix the outer material into the center. This adds oxygen and speeds up decomposition. If you don't turn it, it will still compost but more slowly. Now balance. If your pile smells bad, add more browns. If nothing seems to be happening, add more greens. Composting is about adjustment. Now let's talk about timeline. How long does compost take? If you maintain it well, it can be ready in 2 to 3 months. If you leave it mostly untouched, it may take 4 to 6 months. You'll know it's ready when you can no longer recognize the original materials. It will look dark, crumbly, and smell like forest soil. That's finished compost. And when you reach that point, you've successfully turned waste into soil life. But we're not done yet. Now that your compost pile is started, let's make it better. Because composting can be slow or it can be fast. The difference is in how you manage it. Let's start with how to speed it up. First, chop everything smaller. Large pieces take longer to break down. If you cut vegetable scraps into smaller pieces or shred leaves and cardboard, microorganisms can work faster. Think of it like this. Smaller pieces mean more surface area. More surface area means faster decomposition. Second, maintain the right moisture. Remember the wrung-out sponge rule. Too dry, microbes slow down. Too wet, oxygen disappears. Check your pile every week, adjust if needed. Third, turn it regularly. Turning adds oxygen. Oxygen feeds the microorganisms. Active microorganisms create heat, and heat speeds up decomposition. If your pile gets hot in the center, that's a very good sign. It means your compost is alive. Fourth, balance greens and browns. If your compost looks wet and compacted, add dry leaves or shredded cardboard. If it looks dry and inactive, add fresh kitchen scraps. Small corrections make a big difference. Now let's talk about common mistakes. Mistake number 1, adding too many food scraps at once. If you suddenly dump a large bucket of wet scraps without covering them, you will create odor and flies. Always cover fresh scraps with browns. Mistake number 2, ignoring the pile completely. Compost is low maintenance, but not zero maintenance. Check it, turn it, adjust it. Mistake number 3, expecting perfection. Composting is natural. It does not need to look perfect. It needs to function properly. Now let's move to the exciting part. Using your finished compost. When your compost is dark, crumbly, and smells like fresh soil, it's ready. You can use it in several ways. First, mix it into garden beds. Before planting, spread a layer of compost over your soil. Then gently mix it into the top layer. This improves soil structure and adds slow-release nutrients. Second, use it as mulch. Spread compost around the base of your plants. This helps retain moisture, reduce weeds, and feed the soil slowly. Third, make compost tea. Place finished compost in a bucket of water. Let it sit for 24 to 48 hours. Then use that water to feed your plants. This delivers nutrients in liquid form. Fourth, mix it into potting soil. If you grow plants in containers, blend compost with regular soil. Your plants will grow stronger with healthier roots. And here's something important. Compost does not burn plants like chemical fertilizers can. It releases nutrients slowly. It builds long-term fertility. It improves the life in your soil. And when soil life improves, plant health improves naturally. Now think about this. Every week your kitchen produces scraps. Instead of sending them to a landfill, you can turn them into soil. Instead of buying fertilizer, you can create your own. Instead of wasting nutrients, you can build fertility at home. This is simple, this is practical, and anyone can do it. So here's your challenge. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect setup. Choose a corner, find a bin, start saving scraps. Because the sooner you begin, the sooner you create living soil. If you found this guide helpful, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who wants a healthier garden. And remember, your trash is not waste, it's future soil. Start composting today.